I didn't see this till just now. Scoot a little closer. There we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. Of course, I always say that in case you're not watching this live and you happen to catch this later. For those of you hanging out tonight, thank you very much. Smash that like button on your way in. That way we get the YouTube algorithm saying, hey, this guy doesn't suck that bad. Get us some more viewers in here. So I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. I've got a lot to talk about. Sorry I've been gone for a minute. I know it's like up and down. But the wife has the coof again, and super weak this time again, like just nothing. Sniffles and a bit of a body ache for like half a day and a headache. But unfortunately, she's a teacher, so she has to quarantine for like 10 days. She can't go nowhere. So I've been like super dad. I've been getting up, taking all the kids to school, cooking breakfast, cooking dinner, and then running around fixing air conditioners and heaters, building my own company and trying to make time to do all this. But I'm sorry. I've failed you guys. I missed Wednesday and I think I missed Monday. But anyways, I've got a great stories to share with you guys about Clear Lake, our adventures, all the fun we had. I plan on doing something like that again. I'm also planning on holding like a meet and greet / hangout event where I'm basically going to barbecue. There's no price to show up, no price for the food. Everything's free. We're going to have some fishing prizes we're going to give away, and we'll hang out. We're going to talk fishing. We'll play. We'll probably play some games. Do something. Bring some cornhole or something. Have some drinks out there. Nothing bad. And maybe have some boats out there. Go fish for a little bit. And do something like that. So we're going to have a get together soon here. I'm probably going to set that up in the next couple of weeks. Just trying to get everything else underway that I got to get taken care of. And then I'll let everybody know. I'm going to be blasting it on Facebook. I'll be putting it on YouTube, Instagram. I'm finally on Twitter for anybody who wants to. Hey, buenos dias, Marcos Houston. My broski, what's going on? Keeping it real. Thanks to Sion Bass Fishing Fanatics. Buenos, yeah. Poquito sabe español, 3 años, Foster Farms, mi trabajo, mi amigos no inglés, mi no español. Hey, amigo, ¿cómo dice beer español? Cerveza, cabrón. Oh, okay. So, yeah, adrenaline fishing. Appreciate it. I'm actually kind of like sponsored by them a little bit, but I've got some lures from them that a couple of other guys. There's some lure painters and makers in Alabama, Tennessee that are in with them too, and they've already sent me a couple packs, so I'm gonna go fish them. I just been waiting for that time of year to come because they sent me some crankbaits and some top water, so I could have been throwing it before, but I'm gonna start throwing them this summer. Waiting for the heat to get on. The weather's been kind of crazy. All this wind, hot and then cold, hot and then cold. Oh, it's made fishing so crazy, hasn't it? Sometimes it makes it great, and then sometimes it's like, wow. Anyways, thanks for the compliment. Really appreciate it. But if I back up, the shirt's not so fire. I stained. Well, it's not stained. I ate, and I didn't realize I must have got something on me. I don't know. What the hell? So I figured I'd get a little closer. But yeah, make sure you guys smash that like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that this is a legit channel and we do indeed have fun. We talk about fishing, talk about all kinds of stuff. So I've got like all you members, if you want, I've got like 6 videos out or something coming out. Don Pedro tourney again in the AM with my NorCal Bass Club. I heard there's a Pedro tourney tomorrow night out there, isn't it? Right? There's a river rat tournament out there. I was gonna go. Mark Nav reached out to me, asked me if I was gonna go. I was like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna tournament fish for a minute. I'm trying to spend time with the kids and family. So, but night tournaments are my favorite. It's like I usually almost always win those or come close. Like all of last year, I almost took first place in all of them, but I blew every single one of them, making mistakes that honestly, I'm getting better as a fisherman. I've been getting a lot better, and it's mistakes learning when I'm changing or upgrading gear. So what do I mean is I've been fishing for a good 20, 25 years, I say, right? Yeah, 25 years in my life, quarter century, I've been fishing so far. And I did a lot of that with a spinning rod. And I had to figure out what kind of spinning rod I needed for a drop shot or like a bottom bouncer that was light like that. What kind of spinning rod did I need for a Texas rig, or a small or medium sized jig? What kind of spinning rod did I need for like top water, right? And really, there's all kinds of different spinning rods, and you can use them just as good as bait casters, right? And so then I switched to bait casters. I'd say about 10. No, let's see here. I finally started giving in and using them around like 12 years ago, I'd say. And then I've really been consistently using them the last 10 years. So maybe 15 years ago, I started using them. I've used them when I was first fishing, but I never liked them. I always backlashed and didn't understand all the principles. I just wanted to fish. It was just too much. It was just like, give me my spinning rod. 1790 has a night tourney at Tulik in July. You got to make that one. Sounds awesome. I got to go pre-fish it then. Because I guarantee you, man, 2 ways you can kill it. I'm going to give my biggest secret away right now. Night fishing 101. 3 ways you can kill it. Just murder it. And there's a little bit of changes depending on the wind and whether there's cloud cover, stars, or moon out. I'm telling you, it's very simple. Night fishing gets so simplified. Almost all the fish come to about 25 feet or shallower. You'll have some bruisers, cruisers, and even dinks that'll be spended out over 25, moving around, doing things. The fish will come in and out throughout the night where they'll cruise and they'll do stuff, and then they'll come in and then they'll move up and they'll go all the way from 1 inch of water, literally almost having their backs out the water or sitting in water like this, and the fish is as big as the water is. Then they're just sitting there up in the shallows, all the way down on the bottom to about 20, 25 feet. But usually the deeper you go, they start becoming a little suspended at night. And if they're out deeper, they're usually cruising, swimming around and moving real slow, like sharks, just taking their time, checking shit out. And then when they get up shallow, they usually sit still and they're ambushed, they're ready. And about 70% of the year, all you need at nighttime, I'm telling you right now, this is my biggest like skill. So if you respect me as an angler at all, please trust that my biggest skills, in my opinion, lie with my night fishing skills. And I'll tell you right now, it just becomes so much easier to catch them because they can't see, they're less finicky, they still eat, they don't sleep. So they don't, it's just to fish because they don't sleep. They're always doing stuff. I mean, even if they're like dormant, they're kind of like cats, and they'll sit down and they'll sit on the bottom and they won't move, but their body is awake in a sense. They're breathing, they're swimming. They can't just like fall asleep and fall over. They die, right? So a fish's body is always in constant movement, right? Whether there's current or not, a fish is always slightly moving, just a little bit, doing stuff, right? And so of course they go through periods of inactivity, but you can even get those fish to eat. You just have to put the lure in front of them, right? Fish slower. They're those like lazy fish that are almost sleeping. They're not gonna see a crankbait come flying overhead. But the second those fish are doing their thing, they'll smash that stuff. And the point is at nighttime, they all move shallow. They're awake just as much as they are in the daytime, if not more, because there's no UV. Bass's eyes are very light sensitive. There's no light, there's no UV. And then what there is, there could be moonlight, there could be starlight. And so, anyways, all you need, please believe me, is a jig, with a nice little crawdad trailer. Jig doesn't have to be too long, so the trailer keep it short and compact, but you can make it big and muscular, nice thick crawdad trailer or something, with some big old bulbous crawdad arms. or something that flaps and makes a lot of commotion, just be prepared. You're going to have to change your trailer a lot. I wonder if Z-Man's ever going to come out with some Z-Man trailers. Sometimes what I do is I take Ned Rig stuff and I put them on trailers for my jigs, and they're almost indestructible. I've done that before with like the Z-Man Gobies and some other stuff as a trailer. We're going to get into some comments here. So let's go. June 11th, 12th, John Pedro, Modesto, Ambassadors, Night Team Classic. Yes, I love that stuff. Hey, good evening, Ronald Wilkmore. Got an Ambassador sticker on my boat when I bought it. I fished 2 Ambassador tournaments in the last 2 years. They're fun. Remember last year, right? Fishing the Delta, I caught the stripers, one on drop shot and one on the buzzbait. Yep. What kind of boat? It's 86 Ranger. Yep. Sup, folks? How's it going? Hell if I know in the house. Oh, gee. Man, we got to go fishing again, brother. But where was I? Okay, so best night fishing tips. Jigs, right? Number 1, jigs. And then what to throw? Darker colors. You can use June bug, black, or red, or dark green, dark browns. Try the 2. If there's a lot of moonlight and a lot of starlight and it's really bright, try using a more natural color, but still in the darker tint. And here's a number 1 rule that I've always been told and that I've seen on other fishing channels, and it makes sense. Now let's apply it to nighttime. There's a bunch of pro anglers that tell you that when the water is extremely clear and the fish can see very far, that you want a fast drop, like a realistic fast. You want something heavy, so it drops, boom, and then it gets the fish's attention, right? Then you pop it and it goes boom, and then the fish goes for it from real far away. The fish's eyesight, fish are using their eyesight. Let's talk about daytime, right? So when you're crystal clear water, if you're throwing a jig, a lot of the guys have said you want something heavier. And that when the water's real dirty, visibility's low, right? And that may even mean crystal clear water. It could be like McClure Don Pedro water. We're not talking necessarily East Coast, like see 30 yards away, crystal clear water. But just with good visibility water, you want something heavier, right? And they say with low visibility water that you want something that falls a little slower so that the bass has time to see it because it's harder to see. So if that makes sense, now let's go back to nighttime fishing. So you want to use a jig that has a lot of resistance to water so that it basically slows you down like a parachute, right? So big, flat, flappy arms is a, like a rage craw or something that will make that crawdad flutter really bad on the way down, and then use a lighter weight perhaps. So instead of going with a 1/2 ounce, throw a 3/8 at night. And this really, really will make a big difference. Because man, I've been just tearing them up on jigs the last few years, especially at night. And I've started to get it dialed down to a science. So a jig, big trailer, but is not too far past the hook, so you don't get short strikes. You want the fish hitting the hook. Dark colors, fish shallow, right? Lure number 2, technique number 2 is throw a spinnerbait or a crankbait. Those 2, not like a jerk bait, not a spy baits, not other things. Just square bill crankbait or double bladed or single bladed Colorado. Don't ever use willow blades at night unless the moon is extremely bright and the stars are out and it's very light. And then you may want to use willow because you're going for very realistic shad look. Let's say if there's shad in your body water. You also got to understand when to choose willow over when to choose Colorado. Colorado is meant to mimic a bluegill, a bigger, rounder bait that's a little bit bigger, throws off more vibration, right? And you have that big round flash and it's round. Willow blades throw off less vibration, but more sound because they clank together more because they're close together. They're small and they're skinny and they flash really bright. But a big Colorado throws a lot of flash too, but you can see that it's a bigger, rounder shape, while a willow is a skinnier, longer shape. So a willow represents shad or bait fish. So if you're targeting post spawns that are eating bass fry, or you're targeting uh, bass that are keyed in more on bait fish, you're going to want to throw willow blades if it's really clear night and you're not really doing very good on a Colorado. That key switch can really make a big difference. And then knowing when to use the two. Now, here's another little tip is after the bass spawn, right around June or so, and in this time frame, the bluegills should be, and they already are spawning. Actually, sometimes they come in and spawn in April or May. So the bluegill come right after the bass, and during they'll spawn during the same time for an overlapping period. And the bluegill are a nemesis to some of the bigger bass. And so a bluegill is a great way to catch a big bass, right? So maybe a Colorado is also what you want to throw post spawn if you're going for a bigger fish. If you're trying for realism and it's super like bright out, then maybe some willow, but 9 out of 10 times, or even more, maybe say 95 out of 100 times, I'm using a Colorado blade at night. So that covers your spinnerbait, because you can throw that thing in 1 foot of water, you can throw it in 10 and 20 feet of water, you can make it go up and high in the water column, kill it, let it fall down, roll it a few feet off the bottom, pull it back up, roll it middle of the road. You can work that spinnerbait in all kinds of different water columns if you actually start dialing that thing in. And then a Colorado, even when you reel, it helps you go slower, so you can go deeper with the Colorado. A willow's going to want to run higher, while a Colorado is going to pull down almost like a crankbait, and that big old blade's going to fight, and it's going to make you fish slower if you do it right. Because if you fish fast, the Colorado blade will actually pull up higher than the willow. The willow, because it has less resistance, will actually fall and go deeper. So you can actually fish a willow deeper, but the point is it forces you to go slow if you're using a Colorado. Because if you're using a Colorado, it's going to pull up, right? Because it's a bigger blade, it's going to have more resistance to the water, while a willow has that short, smaller blade. So it's going to have less resistance, it's going to want to go deeper. So if you want to work that Colorado deep, you got to work it real slow. But the great thing about a Colorado versus a willow is even when you're inching that thing along, you can feel that blade. Whoom, whoom. You can feel your tip just go whoo, whoo. And you can feel it like a vibration. So that when it stops, you know your blades are messed up, and you give your tip, give it a couple pops, and it'll undo the line a lot of the time and allow it to straighten back out, and then you'll feel that blade boom, boom, like a little vibration, right? And it feels great, and then you boom, you get smashed, right? So spinnerbait's great. Know when to throw the willow versus the Colorado, in my opinion. Stick with Colorado at night 9 out of 10 times. Darker colors, again, spinnerbait midnight specials are great. Walmart cheap spinnerbaits, you can throw a dark high-tech or some other trailer on the back of that to make it a bigger profile. You're basically fishing like a giant overspin. You can put a 6-inch or 5-inch Kitech on that sucker. It's a half-ounce big old honking spinnerbait. You know, it's not a monster like an ounce, but it's a nice fatty. And it's got a big old Colorado blade. And the cool thing about a midnight special, they come in both blue or red. They're not expensive, and they both have rattles. I love the rattle at night. Noise is really important. At nighttime, bass fish by noise, by feel, more than by sight. They can't see as good. So you want something that makes a lot of noise and movement as much as possible. So if the bass aren't super aggressive, right, you don't want this little trick worm. You want a big jig, right? But you can work it finesse, right? No. Versus this little dinky little trick worm, right? So a bass from far away can get that jig, can get its attention. So if you're bottom bouncing at nighttime, a jig or a big Cinco, like a big Cinco, is the way to go. If your reaction, the two ways to go are going to be a square bill or a medium or deep diving crankbait. You have to have three. You have to have three available, and I'm going to tell you why right now. So we covered the spinnerbait. Now, if you're going to fish and try to cover that 0 to 25 foot range that I was telling you about, you're going to need at least one decent square bill that goes 0 So you can throw that thing in a foot of water and just slowly crank it and bump it and hit all kinds of stuff. Any bass that's up there shallow is just going to smash that. No matter how it's feeling, it's just impossible to almost say no. You'll catch so many fish doing this, I swear to you. You have to get right up against shore. It sucks. It's nighttime. You're scared. The boat, the rocks. Ooh, it's going to scratch your boat. I don't give a shit. I'm more of a dirty Joe Dirt. I get my boat scuffed up. I like to take care of stuff, don't get me wrong, but I fish my boat. So I'll put that sucker, unless there's giant waves, right? Wind, you got to use your say-so. It's got to use your brain, right? So if there's a bunch of wind coming, a bunch of waves, don't get up shallow like that. That's probably not too smart. Boats, you can get smashed up against the shore, right? Nice, calm night. There's no waves. Nothing's going on. Pull your boat right up as shallow as you possibly can take it, and then fish parallel, right? And start in 1 foot of water. I swear to God, you wouldn't believe how many monsters at nighttime are just sitting there right on shore. And you're casting 3 or 4 feet of water, just might not be close enough to entice that bass down. But at nighttime, a lot of times you may cast, you can't see the shore very well. So you check your cast, because you don't want to cast onto shore and either snag your jig or snag your crankbait. And then what? Hey, do you want to lose your crankbait or your jig? No. So of course, what are you going to do? You start messing with it. Now that lure is going to come flying back at you and hook one of your partners or you watch. I mean, that's why I get paranoid about that shit. So instead of like pulling all hard and risking someone getting hurt at night because you can't see, you can't get your stuff off, right? So a lot of people check their casts and they do not cast very close to shore. They cast close. They cast close, 3 to 5 feet or something, but they're not in 1 inch or 10 inches of water. They're not casting right up against the shore. And I swear to God, there's just monsters and lots of numbers that will sit right there. And they could be everywhere else. Don't get me wrong, but that's where you want to start at night. So if you're going to run reaction, so if you're bottom bouncing, same thing. I've already said that. But if you're going to use reaction, get up there with the crankbait or the spinnerbait, and that's where you start in that 1 to 5 foot range, and just work your bait real shallow and work it a little faster so you don't get snagged and stuff. But if you're using a crankbait, you have to actually work it real slow. Work real slow, and then whenever your crankbait pulls down into a rock, you have to stop. Let it float up, go again, boom, stop. Let it. Because if you dig it in, you're going to just snag it. And it's going to be fun, right? Now here's the ticket. If you do cast, right, too close to shore and you get on the shore, here's the deal. Calm down. Drive up to shore. You're gonna blow that little spot out for there. Drive up to shore and reel your stuff in. Slow down when you put your trolling motor in reverse, creep up, inch real close in there, hang out with your pole and try to get it out. And if you can't, that's where you cut your line so nobody gets jacked up. You got to get used to putting your boat up shallow if you want, in my opinion, to catch a lot of fish and big fish. You got to not be afraid if you're gonna do these tactics, and then go out and fish it in 5, 10, 15. You know me, I always stay parallel if I'm using reaction. If I'm using a jig, I'm gonna pull out and I'm gonna fish at shore in 45s usually like this, and I'm just gonna keep moving and I'm gonna cover every bit that I can, right? While if I'm fishing with reaction, I pull right up against the shore like this and I cast right along it. And then if I want to cover deeper, I just pull my boat out and then I fish mid, then I fish deep. And I never fish out past about 25 feet. 25 feet to shore, anytime from spawn to, or even like pre-spawn all the way to fall almost, is where you want to be at night, because all the bait fish, all the spawning fish, all the fry throughout in the summer, all the bait fish, the shad, the baby bass, everything at nighttime pulls up closer to shore to cover and safety. Everything kind of slows down. Everybody goes, all the fish go right that to the lake most of the time. And if not, they're within so much. And they move around, they do stuff. You'll hear them jumping and splashing. A lot of the times, watch out, those are carp in the summer, because the lake is usually rising right now. So all that grass gets put underwater, and that becomes perfect food for the carp. And they move in, and you'll see them spawning too, where they're doing their thing. They're like, they're doing all crazy. And I'm not an expert, so I may be wrong, but I think that's what they're doing. But yeah, the carp are nuts sometimes, so don't get fooled by them. But yeah, fish shallow, fish reaction. Now, and so that's crankbaits. That's no, I said you got to have three. So you got to have a square bill that covers 0 to 8. Then you got to have a medium diver. Something will go 8 to 12, right? To cover that medium range. Then you need to have a deep diver that goes about 18 to 22 feet to get out over that 25-foot range. And hey, thanks for becoming a member. Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it, man. Awesome. So Z-Man Chatterbait will work too, folks. So let's read some comments real quick, and then I'm going to wrap up my nighttime fishing comments, tips, and tricks. Then we're going to get into Clear Lake and talk about Clear Lake and all that stuff. So, Brian, welcome to the membership. So, when you become a member, every month we have a giveaway here. So, make sure you tune in, and every member automatically gets entered. And we spin the wheel of names, and we do a giveaway every month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. Members always get in. We also do subscriber ones every once in a while, but you guys will get one every month. Last month, I gave away a about an $80 spinning combo, and also, so we had two of them, and uh, Mike Dozer won 2 LV500s, a River to Sea Biggie Papa, and I got him a little mini Strike King. So thanks for becoming a member. You also get your early access, all that good stuff. So appreciate the support. Now, let's get back to it. So nighttime fishing, right? You really want to make sure you're breaking the fishing down correctly. You're fishing all those different lanes, right? And I like to fish at parallel. So like if you're in that 8 to 10 foot range, you're using that medium diving crankbait, get up to the shore and zip that sucker out as far as you can parallel with you so that it lands in 8 to 12. And if the fish you think are in 8 to 12 or wherever, right, if that's where you're seeing them on your fish finder, if that's where the bites have been coming out of, then instead of taking your crankbait and running it right at shore, bringing it through 1 to 8, wasting all that and not getting nothing, and then getting to that 8 to 12 and only getting a certain slice of that strike zone. And then you pop out over 20, 25, and your lure comes back to the boat, right? Well, if you get over 8 to 12 and you cast a 100-yard or 50-yard cast, boom, and it lands in 8 to 12, the whole time in that 8 to 12 zone, that lure is in the strike zone the whole time, which is why when I'm power fishing and reaction fishing, it is always done, almost always. There's some exceptions, and I'll talk to you guys about that if you'd like later, but almost always parallel, right? So shallow, mid, and then deep, right? And then in the winter or summer, you can go out and out and out and get even deeper, right? And you break it down into subsections, water columns, I like to call them, right? And I'd say they go in like the 0 to like 6 or something like that ish, and then from the 6 or 8 down to the 12, and then from that 12 to 15-ish range down to like 20, 25, and from 20, 25 down to like 35, then from there to about 50, and then 50 to maybe 70 or 80. And then I don't fish any deeper than 80. I have fished deeper than 80, caught plenty of fish in 90 to 100 feet, but they're barely ever keepers. And I have pulled out 3 to 5 pound bass out of 70 to 80 feet. So they'll help you win tournaments, but it's really tough on them. You have to fizz them. It's a wintertime technique. And even sometimes in the deep summer, they won't be 80, but they'll be about 45, 50 feet deep sometimes in the summer. And they'll just go out and pull out and just and sit down there sometimes. Be real hard to catch. Everybody getting their butt kicked. Where are the fish? Can't find the fish. And on the fish finder, they don't look like they're there. But if you learn like to see it, it'll look like it's just like maybe small rocks or small bumps that are slightly discolored, like the ground has pimples or boils or something. And they won't stick out too much. That'll be a grouping of fish that are just right on the bottom, and they're super hard to see on your fish finder. And they do that in the wintertime. And usually when they do that, they're in the 40 to like 70 range. So anyways, what's up? Ram Rich in the house. Hey, James David, nice to see you on tonight. So let's get the last tip for night fishing out of the way. Then we're going to talk about Clear Lake, dude, we partied hard. Casper was everywhere. Man, it was one hell of a trip. It was fun. We rented a really cool, like 4 bedroom house right on the lake, had its own dock, all that stuff. It was a nice house, barbecue right there, had a refrigerator. We all had our own bedrooms. And we had a big group out there. Mark Nav was there, and Omar and I think his brother. And then we had another couple buddies, and then my buddy there was there, Jay Feber and I, and we had a great time, dude. We got faded, we just got hammered. We all were cool though. During all day, we were sober. We were all smart. Like, we're on the Clear Lake, we're on the big lake, dude. No drinking, not stuff like that going on. While got out on the lake, fished our asses off, and then got in, and then barbecued and drank. Partied hard. It was fun, and try to get some good sleep. But you go to bed at like 10, but you really get to bed by like 11. And then you get up at like 4, and you're like, you didn't really get that good of sleep. But hey, it's better than like camping or laying on a hard ground or sleeping in your car. So, but it was awesome. I had a grand time. So we're going to talk about that. But last nighttime fishing tip is, we're going to recap what I talked about for anyone who just got here. And if you just got here, please smash that like button. Thanks for watching and hanging out with Common Sense Fishing tonight. So you guys are awesome. And again, thanks and welcome to the new member, Brian. So let's all welcome Brian to the club. You guys are an awesome group of fellas, always giving tips and tricks to each other, being honest and open. Of course, we don't give away like our tournament juice. Well, I do. I'm an idiot. But I don't really buy into I'm going to be some bass pro one day. And I'm not like a pool shark trying to go to these local tournaments and like get all like, pre-fish the heck and then get on the pattern and go like try to take people's money or something. No, I just fish for fun. It's cool to be competitive. I want to win, but I have no aspirations of making money off of actually tournament fishing other than maybe the YouTube one day and the community that we build. Hence why I give, I'm all throwing my arms around. Hence why I give all my best tips and tricks out, because I'm honest and I want you guys to go out there and smash them. If there's anything I do different than you. Now, that's the cool thing, is I respect all fishermen and fisherwomen, because you could see people that are go out there and catch monsters doing stuff you would make fun of or not want to fish. And it just should, in my opinion, it opens my eyes to, wow, I should try that sometime. So I love sharing stuff. I always got an open mind to listening to you guys. So this is a great little channel. Thanks again to everybody. So anyways, let's recap. Nighttime fishing, best tips and tricks to just smash numbers and big fish, catch monsters. Number one tip is have heavier line. Don't really use braid necessarily. Just use heavy mono or heavy fluoro, depending on what you're doing. Not overboard killer, because on clear nights, the fish can really see more than you think they can. That's when you want to kind of pull some of them daytime rules out, and fish maybe with dark colors because it's nighttime. But if it's a full moon, all that good stuff, fish with like a darkish green or brown, right? Stuff like that. So anyways, nighttime fishing, if you're bottom bouncing, throw a jig. Throw a jig with big trailer, crawdad trailer preferably, more resistance, and maybe a lighter jig. Throw a 3/8 because it has a slower rate of fall. Unless it's super windy and you're fishing certain stuff, or it's really bright out and you can see really good, there's good visibility, then you want to go to probably the 1/2 ounce. But I would throw the 3/8. If there's no wood or vegetation, actually try to get a jig that doesn't have any kind of weed guard. And if it does, cut the weed guard off and make it's like a giant Ned rig. You have no impediment. So when you get a bite, you stick it. You'd be surprised that hook doesn't ever really grab into a rock and get you snagged. It's almost always going to be a piece of wood, or something like that. You're going to bring in, if there's grass and weeds, you're going to bring in these big old clumps of weeds and grass because the hook's open. But if you're fishing plain dirt, rock, clay, whatever, and there's not a lot of vegetation, an open hook jig is killer. Super badass. That's actually one of the best jig tips I can give you. So anyways, jigs for bottom bouncing. So main point of that is don't bottom bounce with anything other than a jig if you're fishing at night. If you're going for big fish and good size numbers of good fish, If you don't want to throw the jig or the bite is really finesse, I would then maybe throw a big Cinco, and I'm talking nothing smaller than 5 inch or sorry 6, but I'd be looking to throw the 7 or 8 inch Cincos, big old Cincos. Maybe Texas rigged with a weight, maybe not weightless. It depends. I don't like to wait that long, so I would just fluctuate my weight size depending on the conditions. But I'm not really. I'd rather throw a jig, so that would be me at night. So, and I just recommend, a couple different little tips for if you're night fishing to know. But anyways, reaction is going to be spinnerbait, crankbait. Make sure you have your 3 different crankbaits prepared for night fishing. That means a shallow crankbait, like a square bill, middle of the 8 to 12, something like a coffin bill maybe or spoon bill or something, medium diver, right? And then if you're going to fish in that 15-20 range, you're going to want a deep diver, and you can fish those 3 patterns, and you really can crush it. And especially when it was super hot, like 100, 110 degrees the day before, and it's like 85 at night, 90, those fish might still be 25, 30 feet deep. That 20-foot diving crankbait will murk them and just destroy them more than you'd think. It's a great lure at night. I got a double digit last year on it, the same time of year, night fishing at Don Pedro. It was just awesome. So far, last year I got a double digit, and the year before I got a double digit. The year before was on a jig, and then the year last year was on a deep diving, 18-foot diving river to sea Biggie Papa crankbait. It was actually on this exact crankbait right here, but the deep diving version that goes 18 feet. So I'm telling you, night fishing is just it's what I love. Now to the last tip. Sorry to beat around the bush. Top water. Top water is just destruction at nighttime. I mean, it's so awesome. It will scare the shit out of you. Your heart will stop. It is the most adrenaline pumping, craziest shit you'll ever do when you top water at night, because you may think you like right in the daytime, choo, 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 and you see the explosion, boom, right, and you set the hook, right. Here's the thing, at nighttime you're probably going to catch more fish, right? Because here's the deal, you might hear fish jumping and popping around you, so you may not know when it's your lure that went, but the point is usually you will. So you're running your lure, say you're using a whopper plopper, and you're running your lure, boom, and that explosion comes. At nighttime there just seem to be much more dedicated, much more vicious, on point. They don't barely ever miss, and they'll nail that shit. And usually, you don't know, because you don't know if the fish got it or if it missed. So you feel the fish, then you set the hook. So you almost always catch them. So if you're fishing a frog, you're fishing a popper, you're fishing a whopper plopper, you're fishing a walking bait like a Sammy or a spook, you are not going to pull that lure out of that fish's mouth before it has a chance to close on it, because you're too ahead of the game, because you could see it, right? This, you're just going to be or just doing your thing. Next thing you know, doosh, this cannonball sound will happen somewhere in front of you, and you won't know if it got it or not, and you'll just feel your pole moving, and then wow. So at nighttime, if you're topwater fishing, definitely pack big line, bigger, heavier rod, and hold on, because it is badass. It is epic. It is some of the most fun fishing you'll ever do. When the topwater nighttime bite is on, it's just one of the most heart stopping, heart pounding, just like it gets your blood going. Like it's free. It scares you when you get that bite, especially when it's close and they're so aggressive. Just boom, like someone just shot a gun out the water at you, and and then your pole just starts getting ripped out your hand. Like ah. So it's like it's the funniest. It's so awesome. You'll catch some monsters, top water. So now throw your spook, throw whatever you want. There's a million ways to catch them at night. I just say, remember my saying, at nighttime, almost most of the year, not all time of the year, but a lot of the time of the year, at night, obviously they can't see as they can good as they can in the day. So they hunt by sound and by feel. more so than by sight. Although they can still see pretty dang good underwater at night, especially on a clear night with a moon and stars. But it's not, they don't have great vision though. I mean, they can see all right in front of them. It's not like they're blind, is what I'm getting at. But they hunt intensely by sound and by feel, right? Good evening, Cody. Nice to see you on. Did you try that big buzz bait over the weekend? Yeah, I did. But the fish, what they were doing is they were in muck and mud, and the water wasn't clear enough to use it. So I tried and just pulled too much crap in. And what happened was we actually got some bass on a frog. So my buddy, they got like 4 or 5 bass or more on frogs, and then Jay, my other buddy who was with me, he got one on a frog and missed like 2 or 3. But it was mostly the guides and all the bait shops said fishing's been almost like horrible for the last few weeks. I mean, hit and miss. Some good days, some good fish, but hard to catch numbers or lots of them. And but everybody expected it to light up because they were going from like 60 degrees to like 85, 89 degrees. All this warmth was coming. And they've been real cold off and on with lots of wind and all this crap that. So we get there, and it was basically all bed fishing. So we're going to talk about that Clear Lake trip right here in a second. Just want to wrap up the night fishing tip with topwater. So remember, bass want sound and motion. So something like something that has rattles, like a spook, is great at night. And then one of the great things you can do is you got to know what you're fishing in. So if you're fishing in a pond or you're fishing in the delta or something with vegetation, use a frog. Oh yeah, use a frog, and get like a teckle frog that has like a rattling tail, and then that thing goes blah, 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 but it has rattles and it goes and uh, pause your bait. Try 3 different techniques. Go kind of fast, and then do like moderate or slow with some pauses in between, or slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up, and then try some real slow, doot, 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 and then sit there. And then doot, 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 right? And then sit there. And you'd be surprised. You'd be about 3-4 seconds in, and then just whoosh, wow, right? So that a frog will kill it in anything with vegetation. If you're in open water like McClure or Don Pedro, go to a spook, go to a walking bait, right? And then pause. Make sure you work that sucker like a jerk bait. Make a lot of noise, and then stop. What do you do on Friday nights? I watch Common Sense Fishing. Thanks, Daniel Foss. I sit here and hang out with you guys every Friday night. Have a few beers sometimes. We go down rabbit holes. You guys know we have a fun time. We talk about other stuff, but usually we keep it fishing dedicated here, family friendly, or at least not 100% family friendly, but friendly enough, right? We're a good group of guys. And I think, it's been a pretty awesome ride with you guys so far. So, and gals, I appreciate all the supporters and everybody who helps make this channel what it is. And that's each and every one of you. And again, if you get a chance, hit that like button. If you're new here, thanks for joining. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. That always helps. And if you guys get a chance and you see my videos come up, and even if you only watch 30 seconds of them, try to drop a comment that says, oh, hey, hey, just even hi, how's it going? Or a nice video, or even a bad video. Let me know how you feel. Any engagement with the video shows YouTube that the content's worthy of promoting. So I'm trying to grow the channel, trying to get it a little bigger and better, because I've got some really cool plans. Again, let you guys know I'm trying to plan a get together with basically anyone who wants to come. It's open to the public. Family and friends will be there. We'll do a barbecue, kick it, and I'm going to be posting it on Facebook. I'll talk about it on YouTube. And if you're local, make it, or if you want to just drop in and you have that ability, we'll come on down. And we're going to have a little get together at one of the local lakes. gonna barbecue. I'm gonna provide food. I'm gonna barbecue like some tri-tips, some ribs, and all that. Just nobody sue me if you get a little sick, right? No, I'm just kidding. I know how to cook pretty good, so I take care of you guys. But if not, I got a buddy. I think he said he'd come. He's actually like a cook or a chef, barbecue pitmaster dude. So either way, we're gonna have some bomb tri-tips, ribs, chicken, stuff like that, and then I'll have some drinks out there, waters, plenty of beer and stuff, and then we're basically going to be uh, just hanging out, talking, fishing. I think there'll be some people with some boats. We'll be doing probably some fishing trips. I might go out with like people and take them on little 20, 30 minute little guided trip where what we do is pop out, find the shoreline real quick, go to it, and then practice one specific technique. Like, what do you that I know? If I don't know the technique, I'll be honest with you. Like, if you tell me, hey, Sam, teach me how to throw swim baits better, I'll be like, well, yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, I can teach you about some kitex and some underspins and but I don't, I'm not the guy to really teach nobody nothing about a swim bait yet. When I know, I'll let you know. I can tell you what I've heard and what I've seen from other videos and what friends have told me, right? I can share that information, but I will always let you know that I don't know certain lures, very good. And that's like most of them I'm very familiar with, very good with. But I would have to say, honestly, my weaknesses are just giant baits. I don't throw big baits enough. I want to really get into it and practice that more. That's kind of like a New Year's resolution type goal thing for me. For the channel here is I want to hit more smallmouth. I want to hit more unique fisheries. I want to broaden where I'm fishing, and also what I'm fishing for a little bit. Mostly bass. I want to do some smallmouth fishing, stuff like that. Go hit some more different lakes and bounce around, and fish around different areas, not just the mother lode and the delta and the usual that I do. So trying to grow. Um, but you guys, it helps. So once a month we're going to start doing a challenge where you guys vote and send me to my next spot. And actually, if you guys want, you guys could start doing that right now. And for my next trip, I'll let you guys pick where you want to send me. So anywhere in the state of California between Shasta and the Grapevine, I'm willing to go. I've been really wanting to go to places like Los Banos Creek Reservoir. I really wanted to be going to places like Bullard's Bar, Trinity. I've really wanted to go to places that are filled with monster, largemouth, and spotted bass that not a lot of guys fish. And also, if I do catch some monster bass, I may even have to like not explain exactly which lake I'm at, just for the safety of the locals in the lake. If you catch like a world record or something, not a world record, but like a pound away from it type thing, you haul in an 11 pound, 10, 11 pound spotted bass, or you catch two or three of them, or you catch like a 17-pound largemouth. You don't really want to like be blasting that on social media, really. At least not right away. Give that fishery some room to prepare, because then you'll blow it up. But as a smaller channel, I don't think I would. But a bigger channel like Milliken, Tactical Bassin, one of those guys come out here and go to one of these backwood lakes in Northern California. Actually, I've seen Milliken do one, and he wasn't allowed to say what lake he's at. But if you know the area, I'm pretty sure I know what lake they're at. So there's a couple up there by Trinity and Bullard's Bar that are smaller, and they're more like little private lakes. And then there's one up in Coulterville area too called Pine Mountain Lake that has teeners in it on the regular, 13 to 15 pounders every like often, right? But you can't fish it. You have to live there. So it sucks, one of these days I'll let you come fish with me. If you catch more fish than me, I'll buy you lunch. Oh, it's a deal, brother. You let me know when. We'll go. I love having fun and going fishing. I love throwing big baits. That's all I did last year, right? I want to do that more. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna open up. Gerbs with the LV 500. You know that's one of my favorite baits. That also works at night. When is this? Just joined the stream. I'm talking about probably in a couple of weeks. If you're talking about the get together, I want to hold it at like Lake McClure, Lake Don Pedro, maybe Lake New Maloney's, maybe Tulick. Um, I don't know about like Salt Springs Valley or something. It just depends on how soon I plan it for. I want the fishery that we go to be fun so we can all catch fish a little bit. And but the main thing is it's just going to be a get together. It'll be an all day event thing. So I'll be barbecuing, hanging out. So people come and go as they wish. But I think I'm going to do a couple hours of fishing. And then other than that, I'll pull the boat up and just let it chill while I do my thing on the grill or whatever. And we're going to have a great time. So I'm pretty sure we'll have a decent turnout. Might be only 10, 15 guys show up, but we've had similar stuff where we had 30, 40 people show up for just simple little kick-its like that. So it just depends. It would be cool if we have a big old blowout, have hella people show up. You got to go back to the store for more hamburger buns or more tri-tips. I don't want to cook hamburgers and hot dogs. Screw that. I'm usually the dude. I'll bust out tri-tips and ribs and shit. I don't care. I mean, hey, you only live once, right? I ain't rich, but you know, um, so we'll be doing something like that probably here in the next 2 weeks, somewhere around there. So watch out for that. We'll be having that. I'll give you guys a good heads up, like a 5 to 7 day. Once I nail what day it is, I'm gonna blast it on social media, put it on here, and we'll talk about it. That way everyone has a chance to show up and come if you want. And we're gonna have fun. I'm supposed to be fishing with Marco Houston, I think next Tuesday, right? If I believe it correctly. So I don't have anything scheduled work-wise yet for next Tuesday. So I gotta make sure I keep that blocked off for you. I vote LBC. Hell yeah, LBC. So we got one for LBC. I want to go fish LBC. I tell you what. You guys want to all vote tonight. If there's enough everybody in the room, or we get enough people on the live stream, vote where you send me, or else just vote, keep that vote, and then we'll maybe do a post on the YouTube channel, and we'll see where everyone wants to go, and I'll put up a couple different lakes, like maybe put up. Uh-oh. What's up, dude, guy?
My friend come inside?
Into the house?
Yeah.
Who is it?
I'm pretty sure his name is Tashiga.
You don't even know his name?
No, I know his name.
This guy. You guys can go hang out on the couch in the living room for a while. That's cool. I have to go check on that here in a minute, but oh yeah, I'll be going early this week. Let me know if you're not working anywhere from Frank's Track, BMW, New Maloney's to my favorite McClure. Oh yeah, Daniel, just let me know. I'm down. I'm working Monday, and I'm fishing Tuesday already with somebody. But other than that, I'm cool. Just let me know. So like if you're going Wednesday or so, I know that's not really that's midweek really. So, but random kid. Yeah, that was my kid. I'm in a little man cave that I built. So I got my own little air conditioner up there, all my fishing plaques on the wall right there, like half of them or something. All my collectibles right here. Because I have a different channel, Common Sense Talks. So when I go on my little political rants and talk shit or go talk about news or football and sports and all that, I got my collectibles and all the other stuff right there. So I talk about all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's a different channel. But this is my backdrop basically. So, and it's my man cave. It's where I keep all my stuff I've been chilling with for years. I bought it throughout the years and saved it. Some of this stuff I've had since I was a kid, but most of this I've been collecting in like the last 10 years because I'm old school. That collector bug woke back up in me. I used to go buy baseball cards with my dad and all that. He's still here. He's still alive. You'd think maybe it was like something sentimental or something. I don't know, but I just became a collectible. What do you call it? It's weird. So, and there, I got boxes of stuff starting to pile up now. That I picked it up. These are all autographed jerseys, and that whole box is full of them. I'm a fool. Anyways, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. Appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Smash that like button, and we'll talk about Clear Lake now. So, Clear Lake was one hell of a fun trip. My uncle is the same way. He has tons of old school collectible toys and he buys and sells them at flea markets. Yeah, I'll buy stuff anytime I see it. That's what I am. If I see a good deal, I see someone don't know what they have like a garage sale and you could tell it's like a legit autographed something or it's a real collectible like old 1970s Star Wars toy and it's like perfect condition. You know it, and they've got it for sale for 50 cents or $1, and it's like, but it's not in the box, so it's not worth thousands. It's worth maybe hundreds or 50 to 100. Hustler, right? Pick it up for 50 cents. Pop it on eBay. Take you 10 minutes of your time, and one day you can sell the thing for $100, right? 50 bucks even. That's like a giant return. And if you can do that often, a lot of people actually do. They make a business of that. Some people, though, they're even lazier. They go to Walmart and they go to other places and they buy like everything on that goes on an ultra discount or drop. They find out when prices are going to do an ultra rollback for certain items. They'll go in and buy everything out and take that and put it on an Amazon store. And they'll literally have like, ads and click a funnel. Basically they're called funnels if I remember correctly, that will just bring people to your website to shop, and the deals are pretty wicked because you got stuff for damn near free, like couponing, type stuff, and you're just making a ton of money. There are people that got it set up crazy, but that's crazy hustle. Like I'm not a, it just feels like not right, but I get it. The game, I mean, it's all legal, the game and the system, but I like getting my hands dirty, working with my mind. That's just, I mean, that's working with your mind, I guess, trying to scheme a hustle, but and it's all legal, but still, it's like, that's not me. I do heating and air conditioning, so I like figuring shit out. I got a good problem I solved today that I'm pretty sure we'll have them up and running on Monday. And they've had multiple companies out there trying to sell them all kinds of a load of crock. Telling them their duct work wasn't right and this and that wasn't right. I went and I checked everything out. No, it wasn't sized right. They're right there, but the unit's like 20 years old. It's like, why is all of a sudden it doing what it's doing? And I'm the only one that asked this question. They're all like, yeah, what the hell? 5 years ago, it wasn't blowing like this. The old original blower motor, when you turn it on, it still spins real fast, but it doesn't. I'm like, I go, I think your motor's going bad. So, wow, the RPM, they can fry where they still spin, but they spin slower. And when you're talking about something that spins 1100 RPM, RP, one 1,100 times it goes around in 1 minute. It's extremely fast. And if that slows down, let's say 700, you won't, or even 500, you won't barely notice that it's sped up because that's still so fast. Your eyes have a hard time keeping track with that wheel. It's just a blur, right? So you can't visually look at a blower motor or fan and see how fast it's going. So, but just by the simple tests and things that I did, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just a simple blower motor. Just pull it out and put a new one in. But I didn't have one on the truck, so Monday we'll get them fixed up. They had all these companies out there trying to sell them $5,000 for new ductwork. One trying like almost $20,000 for new air conditioner, new ductwork. Anyways, that's the kind of stuff we talk about on Common Sense Talk. Sometimes we go down those rabbit holes here, but my bad. We try to keep it uh, fishing related here. So, anyways, Clear Lake was epic. We had a great time. Dude, we got hammered. We caught a ton of fish. They were on beds. All the fish were on, well, not all, there was a ton of fish on beds, but all the bigger fish, like anything over 5 damn near, and up was all post spawn, and they were swimming all around you, just taunting you. Big old 5 to 8 pound bass, just tanking around. Throw your lure at them, they just dart off. And then you're like, I know they're there. You back up, you'll see them swimming in circles, and they're just chilling. They're like, we don't care, screw you. You back up, you throw jerk baits, you throw Cincos, weightless, you throw drop shots, you throw crankbait, you throw spinner bait, you throw top water. They don't want nothing, and you'll see them swimming around. You'll even see a couple of them follow your lure, interested, like, but a couple feet away, and just nothing you do, from erratic jerks to pauses and stops. Nothing was working for them post spawn bass. So we just gave up on them because there were thousands of bass everywhere on beds. But they were all like 2 to 4 pounds. So we were catching like 17-pound bags, 18-pound bags, 15-pound bags. We were just smacking them. We were culling fish and throwing them out left and right and just having a ton of fun. Caught like, I don't know, between the 3 days, caught like close to 100 fish. I mean, one day alone, I probably caught like 30 plus fish myself. My partner caught a bunch. The day before, we had caught like only 10 or 15, I think like 15. And then the last day again was at like 25 fish or something, like within just like 2 or 3 hours of fishing, because we all slept in, and everybody had to leave early that day on the third day. So it was fun. Yeah, we killed it up there, dude. You have to have pride in your work. I sure do, brother. I care about what I do. So they're paying less than $500 to get their problem fixed. And then the lady has a bottle of Freon too, that is actually the $2,000 a bottle stuff. And she had bought it maybe many years ago, but it's still there, it's still good. So if there's any, once I get the fan working to proper speed, if there's any adjustments Freon wise, I told her I'll do it with her Freon for free. Like, I won't charge her any of the labor. So she's gonna pay $500 and get her unit. It hasn't been working right for the last 2 years, and nobody's been able to figure it out because everything's working. So the air conditioner turns on, compressor works, fan works, Freon goes through, everything works, right? Fan works, air comes out, and it's cold too. It's cold, but it's not coming out strong. And so everyone's looked underneath the house. The ducks look fine, right? There's a oh, I just light bulb went off. Something I'm gonna check when I get there because they're metal ducks. I'm gonna have to crawl to one and put a hole in it with this drill real quick on the bottom in case they fill with water. Just in case. I don't know why they would, because they're underneath the home and there's no water under the home. But if for any reason the unit iced up, or if they had like a bathroom problem, or like a bathtub overflowed and went in the bathtub drain, it would. If there's any traps in the ductwork, it might do it. But I didn't hear any gurgling, so no, I doubt it. But I'll just double check it. But yeah, anyways, they're gonna pay less than $500, and everybody else it was adamant that they needed a new unit, new duct work, all this crap. And I'm like, no, everything's working fine. Unit's working good. Something's wrong with the airflow. And I'm like, it's got to be that blower motor. I've seen this in about 15 years of doing HVAC. I've seen this particular problem about 5 or 6 times. So it's not very often you see them. Usually when a motor goes out, it goes out. So this one was basically just working real slow. Anyways, but yeah, I like explaining things, talking about stuff. So this is a cool channel too, where if you guys are interested in learning or talking about anything from investing, because I'm in Bitcoin and Dogecoin and a little bit other stuff. Yes, they're going down, but I hopefully, they'll turn back around. And I bought in before it was that high anyways, so I've already made a little bit, so nothing crazy. But I've seen all this craziness coming. I think everything's going to crash worse. But what goes down will also come back up eventually. Unless the whole country crashes, eventually stuff will rebound. So it's when everything does hit the epic crash. If you're already in the market, you're going to lose a lot. But when it does happen, that'll be the time to buy back in. Is when the world, collectively breathes a sigh of relief, and things kind of do get better eventually. Hopefully they do, right? Inflation and our debt, national debt like that, if we can get our shit together, eventually we'll rebound, right? And so it's what's going to be what, everything's going to crash. So you just put your money in the right thing. So if you can buy when the house market crashes, if you got money saved up, not giving financial advice, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. Money will still be money to an extent. Um, because if, and then the other reversion is if World War III did happen and shit hit the fan, nobody's going to care about your shiny gold medal or your silver medal. And they may not even care about your toilet paper money if there's no government or infrastructure to support the transaction of those goods. What's going to food, shelter, crap like that? Just keeping it. So it's always good to have physical things as well. Camping tents, outdoor stuff. Good to have fishing poles. Good to have a sleeping bags, flashlights, tents, because it's great to go outdoors. It's great to just de-stress, take in the great mother nature, spend time with your family or friends. It's great, right? And then it's also good if anything were to ever hit the fan, you're not going to be one of them fools that's like, if something were to literally going down, you grab your wife and kids, you survived, you got out with some cans of canned food and with some blankets and pillows. And that's it. Do you even have a lighter? Do you even have a knife? What do you have? You good? Okay, now you're out into the forest or wherever, and the world's falling apart about you. What do you have, right? So at least if you're a fisherman, you got your fishing poles, fishing line, you got your lures so you can fish for a long time. If you break line, you have more lures, you have more line. Usually most fishermen have backup stuff, extra poles, extra. So literally you can fish with one thing at a time if you had to feed yourself, right? And you'd have enough lures and poles and reels and lines to last forever, right? So in a case of a bad situation, just fishing all around, man. It's a great thing for our youth, great thing for us. Going down a rabbit hole, think about it preparation wise. It's a tool to feed you and your family if you ever had to. It's a skill that, although is for fun and for competition, it's also something that can one day save your life and the life of your wife and the life of your kids. While you may know how to fish, and the guy next door who can do whatever he can do don't. Um, things might get bad if things take a turn for the worse, right? Fishing isn't be an easy way to produce food for yourself, because you go try to take a farmer's cow or hunt on public land or public stuff, right? And then if the rules go, people be poaching, there won't be any stock. Like, it'll be hard to go out into the wild. You could still do out in the wild, but if you can fish, you just need a body of water, and fish reproduce, and you're good. You can just eat fish, but it's not very healthy for you. But so that's why maybe a bow and arrow, a gun, something to defend yourself, something to hunt with. And that's all not crazy talk. It's not prepper talk. It's simple outdoor talk too. It just so happens that if you like to do occasional hunting or archery or target practice, now you have also the skill to feed your family or to hunt for food in the case of a situation. So fishing is entertaining, it's relaxing, it's de-stressful, and it's potentially life-saving in a bad situation. So it's like everybody should learn how to fish a little bit and have a little rod and a tackle box, like a bug out kit. And it's also fun to go camping. So to have that stuff doesn't hurt. You're not crazy if you have it. It's great to have. You can do a sleep out in your backyard with your kids. There's so much fun stuff you could do. But if anything were to ever hit the fan, you got a sleeping bags, you got tents, you got flashlights, you got lanterns, you got a propane little stove, maybe with a few cans at least to get you started. You got stuff, you got some knowledge, about how to make somewhat a fire. If you know how to fish, you know how to hunt. You have a lot more than what a lot of people wouldn't have. Trust me. So it's like it's an awesome thing. So just like I said, there we go. That's an example of how sometimes I get all myself started and I go down a rabbit hole, because right now the times are not the greatest. We're going through some rough situations in the world right now. Of course, it could be worse. So in retrospect, it's not World War II or three or one. It's not crazy. We're not looking at like the Black Death plague, half the population dying. Whatever we've been through has been tough, but it could be a lot worse. So I always like to have a positive attitude. The glass is half full, not half empty. Same thing with fishing. If it's tough and you're not catching fish, always believe that window could open up where you will find the bite or the pattern. That's why I remember to change things up every once in a while. Don't get stuck throwing the same. I fall for that problem all the time too. Don't get stuck throwing the same lure all day. Don't get stuck throwing the same depth all day. Experiment, have fun, make fishing more fun, and you'll actually find out you may catch a little bit less fish, but you're going to catch a lot more bigger fish. Believe it or not, because you're going to do things that most guys might be like, nah, I'm going to throw the drop shot, or I'm going to throw the shaky head, or I'm going to throw this. And here you are throwing a spinner bait or a crankbait or doing whatever because you're bored and you don't want to bottom bounce, right? And that could be the fire bite, right? Where you get some big ends, you get some numbers, while the guy bottom bounces. How did you catch all those fish, man? I got an 11-pound bag. I caught 40 fish today. You only caught 15, but you had all 3 plus, or a couple twos, but maybe you had a 5 or 6 in there, or even bigger. So, yeah, I love this time of year, night fishing, power fishing, reaction fishing, jig fishing, spinner bait, all that good stuff. So, I love to share all the tips and tricks that I can with you guys. But again, if you're bed fishing, I'm going to give you guys, I got a video coming out called the most tricked out worm setup you ever seen or something like that, or the craziest. And it really is. It's like the most nuttiest worm setup you've ever seen. And those of you who are members know what I'm talking about. You've already probably seen the video on me doing it, but I'm finally giving it away to the general public. So you guys don't understand. I went to Clear Lake and murdered against, let's just say one, I'm not going to say his name, but one person. We kind of were, having fun fishing side by side. And again, I'm in a more dominant position to probably catch a few more fish, but handicaps also where he didn't have sunglasses the first day. But the second day, when he did have sunglasses, I caught probably 7 to 1 the amount of fish as him because of I have better eyesight. And I noticed watching the video, I went back and I watched all the video, and I had hours and hours of footage. And I was watching him, and he's taking his pole, and we're bed fishing, right? And he throws right past the bed, right? And then, like I'm doing, a couple feet past the bed, starts working toward the bed. But this is how he's working his rod. So he's got his rod, and he reels in the slack, and he goes, and then like that, right? And reels in, and he goes like that, and then, and see, he's using like a weightless Cinco or a Cinco with a small, maybe nail weight or something in it, wacky rig or something. He's doing something, but he's moving his pole too much, right? And too smooth. Now, here's what I was doing. I'd cast past the bed and I would barely like this so that my lure would go. And then when I thought I was within about a foot or two of the bed, I'd start going like this. So it'd be tick, toot, 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 and then stop. And then so they were little violent, but very small, where my pole just instead of like this, right? They were just a little hops like that. And it was allowing my bait to stay in one zone for longer, but get plenty of action out of my bait, right? Because it's constantly getting popped up and then falling down, popped up, but because it's not being lifted up and then falling down, and then lifted up and then falling down. It's being like that. And I'm using a little bit heavier weight, I think, than he was. And so it made all the difference. I caught way more fish. It wasn't his fault necessarily. It was just, yeah, I mean, it was, but a lot of it too was, of course, being in the front of the boat. But a big thing was the way that he was fishing. And I don't, yeah, I'm not trying to, one of my best friends, but you can see if you watch the rod tips and you watch You can see in like even in some of the video that I do publish, you can see him working his rod tip, and you can see how he's doing it. He's got a specific way he bottom bounces, right? While me, I'm actually trying to at this point consider like how do I efficiently fish this bed, because you got a couple techniques. I could just literally drag the worm through. And I tried that a couple times so we could see the fish, you could see the beds. I'd cast past it, right? Yeah, I'll fish. I'll give you some great tips right now. Gold to go higher, dollar lower. Yes, it will. But there's also, if it were to ever hit the fan, gold won't be worth anything if it was World War III. Bottles of water, stuff like that will. But hey, Max, nice to see you on tonight. The bass, man, I'm out of the market right now. I'm waiting for the crash, like you said. Yep. Bitcoin will bounce to 34 or 5. Yep. It won't go too high, but we'll retest 20K and lower soon, probably. And then it'll probably after that go back up to anywhere from 30 to 60 if we don't hit a world war or a super. And if we hit a super recession, everything's going to crash. And then we'll have some tough times. But if the world doesn't go ape shit during those times, when we do recover, there'll be certain things that do, but things will pop back up and they'll go high again, really high, most likely, or to an extent. At least that's what I'm hoping. But I am prepared for the crash. I think it's coming for sure. So financially, I wouldn't have a ton of money in the stock market right now. Owning property and homes is better, but that sucks with the value and prices of things right now. If you can just, the problem is if you save and you stack cash and money, the value of that is just going down and down. So if you have $100,000, inflation's 10%, then by next year now you only have $90,000, at least buying power. You may physically, the number says 100 still, but now it's worth 90. And then every year, now it's worth 80. Now it's worth 70. So you hold on to 100 grand for 3 years, and now it's went from 100 grand to 70 grand. And if you look at things, that's the inflation number they tell you. When there's real inflation, if you were to look across the board and say, how much has things truly gone up in the last 2 years? Well, gas was $1.80 a gallon here in California that is now $6 a gallon. That's a 3 to 4, almost 400. It's a 300 and something percent increase, not 10%, right? Then when you look at what has a loaf of bread gone up with, maybe from $1 to $1.50, right, in the last couple of years, then that might be, say, a 50% increase, right? What is rent gone up with in the last 2 years? Say 2 years ago, a 3-bedroom house was 1,500 a month. Now it's 2,000 a month. That's gone up, say 20-25%. Then you look at what has steak gone up. It's gone up from, let's say, 2 or 3.99 a pound to 4 or 5.99 a pound. You're looking at 50-60% increase. Beer, what is a beer gone up from? Maybe only a 10 or 20% increase. But when you look at almost everything, what is wood gone up from? Cement. What is steel? What is copper? Copper's gone up from X amount a pound to exorbitant amount a pound. Wiring and the Romex and copper wiring is more than doubled or almost tripled. You're looking at 200% increases almost, or 150% increases on copper over the last 2 or 3 years. So when you look at that, the cost to the average American when a gallon of milk, 2 years ago was maybe $3.99. Now it's $4 or $5.99. You're still looking at 15-20% increase. When you look at everything that the average American uses and does, I believe the inflation rate to be higher and much closer to about 20%, which is extremely scary. So, anyways, I'm not a financial wizard. This is a fishing channel. I'm gonna shut the front door and talk about fishing. So, any advice for fishing out the back of the boat? I'm in a club and I'm always fishing out of the back. Always try to not cast in the same spot as them, and also not throwing the exact same thing. Great rules. Don't throw in the same spot. Don't throw the same thing unless like the bait bites on fire and there's so many fish and things coming that it's imperative that you capitalize and catch every single one of them that you can, and try to weed out and get the bigger ones. Then that's when you would both be throwing the same lure. Like if crankbait bite was just ultra on fire, then you might be using two crankbaits, maybe a deeper diver and a shallow diver, or just two shallows or two deeps, and just going to town working on them. Maybe one guy's got a spinner bait, one guy's got a crankbait, so you're similar but not exactly the same. But yeah, good starting points is like that. Another thing is if you're going to bottom bounce, the guy in the front will move at random, not always just tell you, look back, oh, I'm about to move. So if you're fishing backwards out of the back of the boat, which you can, but the guy in the front moves, it can very much feel like a bite. All of a sudden, your pole starts pulling on you, even if you barely tips forward, right? And you don't hear it, you don't see the water, you don't seem to feel like you're moving, but the trolling motor's on extremely slow speed. That can feel like a bite, or you can get snagged real easy doing that. So one good rule of thumb is try to cast towards the front of the boat a little bit, but not in the way of the angler in the front. Try to work with the whatever angles you're given if you want to fish the inside or outside, but that he will obstruct a large portion of your angles if you're trying to fish up front. Just stay out of his or her path, right? And a good example, if I had the whiteboard right now, I could show you guys what I'm talking about, like as if it was a radar beam or headlight beam, right? And that's the guy in the front. Let's just say you notice he's casting in this certain way, then you can, depending on the boat's angle, choose the rest of the pie, so to speak. Now, here's the thing that if he's fishing fast or medium or even really slow, but he's got all the stuff and you're in the back, using a heavier weight sometimes can be a key factor in the back because it can allow you to cast farther or out front and away from the guy, maybe in deeper water. And then what it allows is your bait to get down to the bottom faster, and then you're able to work it in and react it, uh, and get more of the action and get more of the retrieval out of it while you're headed towards it. If the weight is heavier, if the weight's lighter, every little lift might send the weight or the lure flying. It may be actually kind of swimming more than it is bottom bouncing, crawling, or having contact with the bottom, which is really important for something like that. So heavy weight is a good way to fish in the back of the boat. Um, and really it depends on what the front of the boat's angles are doing, what he's doing. So if the boat's dead center and the guy in the front is fishing like this, right, then, or fishing like this, then you as the guy in the back can take this angle. Or if he's fishing like this, then you can take like this all the way, right? And you got the whole back of the boat. If he's stationary and spot locked and not moving, you got the whole back. You can just go to town. If he starts cruising or he's reaction fishing, I don't suggest fishing towards the back, because if you do pull into a rock or snag, you'll have to immediately open your bell and reach out to let the bait or the lure lift up and not get caught in it. And if you get caught in it, you got no choice. You're going to snap and lose your lure. You just, especially if you're in like a pro boat, they don't care about the dude in the back of the boat. They're on a mission, and someone, you can get yourself hooked, or you're just going to lose a lot of lures that way. So focus towards the front, which means then if his boat, so most guys, if the shoreline's like this, they're going to have their boat like this or like this, right? So in the back here, if the guy in the front is fishing the shoreline like this, then in the back, you can cast to this part of the shoreline and on, but you're going to have to bomb it, right? So heavier gets you further, right? Unless the guy in the boat's hella far out where he can cast to shore but barely, and he has to bomb it. Well, you can bomb it, but now you might land five yards away from shore, right? So if he's not an asshole, if he's close enough where you both can fish, he'll be like this, fishing like this, like a thing in front of him, but you in the back can hit like this. And if you use a heavier weight, you get a little more range. You can actually fish ahead of him a bit. So if he's kind of cutting like this, you can actually cut him off a little and get some fresh water every now and then, so to speak, and then work your lure out, right? Or if he's fishing this zone, you can fish in the back right here, angled this way and back. But again, heavier weights allow you to get further. And if you're bottom bouncing, allow you to get down quicker and then do your thing so that you can just keep fishing, right? And not like if he's moving and you're like, oh, damn it. And if you're using reaction, that's a whole nother story, because if he's not up parallel, if he's up parallel, then hopefully there's two ways you do it. If the guy in the front is parallel and you have a guy in the back of the boat, here's some nice boat etiquette. Take your boat and either hit the nose out like this. And that's when the guy in the front wants that middle or outside lane. So remember I talk about water columns? You got that 5, 0 to 5, 0 to 6, whatever, and that maybe 8-ish, 6 to down to like 10 or 12. And then you got a 10, 12, 15, 15 range down to about 20, 25. Those three water columns. So if the guy in the front wants to fish in 10 feet of water, or 15 or 20, he can take the boat and kick it out like this, right? And then him in the front can fish these lanes. The guy in the back can fish shore and in. And if the guy in the front wants to fish shallow, then he can turn the boat like this, and then he can fish parallel and shallow, and the guy in the back can fish mid and deeper. And there will always be fish in those different scattered ranges almost all throughout the year. There'll be times when there's not really fish deep and when they're not really super shallow, but almost all times of the year, even in the winter, you'll find some fish in 0 to 5 or 0 to 8. And then almost all times of the year, you're going to find a few fish throughout the lake, at least between 8 and 12. And all times of the year, you're going to find a few in between and whatever, right? So you're not completely punked. You're not completely left out of the equation. Everybody still gets some love. And then once you dial where those fish in, you can actually turn the boat like this. And then both of you guys can concentrate, especially if it's in 15 or 0 or in 10 or 20. Then the guy can pull the boat out like this. Say that 10 to 20 or 15 to 20 range is where it's at. Well, then if the nose is real shallow and the guy in the back's in that perfect zone right here, and this guy can't really, the guy in the front, he's starting to get jealous. It's his boat. So the fish are back here. Just pull the boat back a little bit and put it over 15 or 20, right? Then the guy in the front can cast like this into 15 or 20. The guy in the back can cast like this to 15 or 20, and you pull your lures away from each other. Just don't cast on across each other or too close. Give each other a few feet and communicate. Talk to your partner. Hey, I'm going to set, especially if you have that kind of relationship with the guy in the front or the guy in the back. Talk to each other like, hey, are you wanting to fish like this? Okay, well, then I'm going to try this. Do you mind doing this? Or can we do this? But don't be overtly demanding. Remember, if it's the guy in the front, it's his boat, it's how, or her boat, it's how they want to fish, not how you want to fish. So usually it's like get in where you fit in. So if the guy in the front wants to do this, then you look at what options do you have, and then you politely work around him. And there's a lot of different ways. You just have to be open-minded. So the more tools you have in your fishing belt, the more things. Then sometimes the guy in the front, by being stingy, let's say, will actually put you on a bite that you didn't know about that is better than the guy on the front. So say the guy in the front is hogging the perfect angle for a crankbait shallow bite, and he's catching a few decent fish here and there, and you're stuck and you can't cast and you're not catching much of anything. So you put your bait down. You say, well, I only have this water column or this I can fish in. Then start throwing some deep diving or medium diving cranks or your jerk bait or whatever, and start fishing that different water with the LV 500 or jig or something. And you might stumble on a bite that's 10 times better than whatever the dude in the front's doing. So the saying, get in where you fit in, is really important to the guy in the back of the boat. And the more kind of like tricks and tools that you have, or just ways of fishing, then you can analyze, well, I'm fucked, right? The guy's fishing this way. So what does that leave me with? And be open-minded, and then try some things. So then throw that spinner bait, throw that whatever, and then if he's shoving you up shallow and he's covering out and hogging the deeper water or whatever and putting you in a worse position, well, then what could you fish up shallow, right? Because there's always going to be fish in different positions. So then throw that crankbait, spinnerbait, top water, whatever, shallow, you know, work with what they give you. And then you're not always supposed to be throwing the same thing anyways. So when you see the guy in the front whacking them on X or Y, Z, then you might still want to try to have that mental reserve to still throw A, B, and C, because he's throwing X, Y, and Z, and you want the A, B, and C so that you have a wider diversity of pattern. And one of you guys is going to find the true big fish. And it could be the guy in the back of the boat, it could be the guy in the front of the boat. But most of the time, rule of thumb is the guy in the front of the boat is usually the power fisherman with the crankbait, the spinnerbait, the top water, the jerkbait, the swim bait, the A rig. And the guy in the back is the guy with the drop shot, the Ned rig, the Nico rig, maybe, but it doesn't sink usually as fast as you want it to. So a Ned rig, a drop shot, maybe a jig. That's what the guy in the back of the boat is going to be notorious for. Because, like I said, you're going to want to use something heavier because you want it to get down quicker. You want it to get to those fish because, as the guy in the back, sometimes you have a lot less time to work your cast than the guy in the front. If he's moving and adjusting, doing stuff, it'll throw you off because you're not in the same mindset as him or place always, right? And you're not him, can't read minds, so you don't know when he's going to turn, stop, move, reverse, forward. It makes fishing in the back a lot more challenging, but it's it's fun. I like fishing whether I'm in the front of the boat or the back of the boat. I try to just adjust either way, and stay positive and happy. Be glad that you're out in the water fishing. You're not stuck, in an office or on a roof or an attic somewhere, as I like to say. You're not breaking rocks. You're still alive, right? So that's why fishing's such a good thing. You just get out there and try it, open your mind, figure it out. And if you don't, there's always next time. It's all right. We lose. We don't always win every trip. But the cool thing is if you're open minded, you try more things, you're gonna have much more fun. You're gonna, I think, be much more successful in the long run versus the guy that consistently goes to the lake and all he throws at all lakes is jigs or rubber worms or crankbaits, and he doesn't throw different things much. You got to be diversified if you want. I mean, a lot of guys are specialty fishermen. There's guys that all they do is crankbait. I don't got nothing against that. Guys, all they throw is the jig. I'm just saying that in my book, the better fishermen though, or more fun and experienced ones, um, probably going to be throwing many different things, so that they can capitalize at whatever bites hot at that given time of year. So hopefully every trip or every time they're catching big fish or lots of fish. That's the name of the game, right? And so, but you can just be stubborn and throw one thing, and sure enough, though, sometimes those are the big fish catchers, right? They just throw swim baits all day and they may not catch anything. They're cool with that. They go home. And then the next day they do it. Might go on a stint for a week or two where they don't catch them. Next thing you know, they got a 10, 12 pounder. Like I cannot knock that, not at one bit. So I'm not trying to be negative here. Just saying, everybody's got different tastes and there's different ways of fishing. So being the guy in the back of the boat, you kind of just gotta, I guess, like I said earlier, got to get in where you fit in. So hope these tips help. Thanks for watching, you guys. Appreciate everybody. We got the last half hour, and might get off a little early here. We'll see what happens. If you guys got any more questions, anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. Leave a comment there, and be glad to discuss it before we get off tonight. If not, I think we got like 5 or 6 people in here tonight. We had a bit on earlier, and then throughout the night, we've had some people come in and hang out for a half hour, take off, come in. That's cool. It's how the typical live streams go. But at this point, I'll probably sign off in 10 or 15 minutes. Unless, sometimes stuff gets cracking towards the end of the show, and I sometimes even go over. But if you guys have any questions, any techniques you guys want to discuss, leave a comment. Let me know. I'll be glad to go over it. But I think I wanted to help out some folks with your night fishing tournaments, with your night fishing. So I went over some of that. And then also my Clear Lake trip. So that's kind of a recap of what tonight's show's been about, with a bunch of mumbling and grumbling, and a little bit of talk about finances, the stock market, investments, the craziness, the world, and a little bit of lunacy with some prepper talk about the need. Well, it's not you're smart, but hey, the need to have some camping gear, the need to have a couple extra lighters or some matches in the water in a Ziploc bag in your camping stuff. Need to have a couple knives or something, or maybe even a firestone, a flint, some all the stuff that you need. Sleeping bag, a lantern, a couple propane bottles or something with a little stove. uh, your little coffee, right? Think about that. How miserable would be things go if it's like the end of the world, you don't got no coffee. So you have a big old tub of that shit, and a ghetto coffee maker that you don't require all the stuff, and you do the little thing, and you just have to clean it out. Oh man, got the kid to be meh tonight. I was still waiting for Mike Dozier to jump on. I've been trying to get him his lures. I think he was on the other night, but I don't know. He knows he won them, and he may have reached out to me, and I'm a burnout. I got to go through all my messages again because I got like Instagram. I got Twitter now. Finally, I've got Facebook Messenger. I've got my real messages, text messages. A couple guys email me, so it's like, damn it. So I have to like go searching through all this social media messages to see if he's actually reached out, because some of them have actually like I know some of your guys' address, who you've won before. So I've shipped you off items, and I can go if you win again, because you can win multiple times when you're a member here. So I've shipped off items to a couple guys so many times I damn near almost remember their address. But and then some guys I've met, they're local, so I just meet up with them and give them their stuff. Um, so it's like brain fart on exactly. So I've been waiting for Mike to jump on so I can harass him. Hey, dude, send me another message so it's easier to find. But yeah, we'll be having another giveaway video coming soon. So stay tuned for that. June's giveaway video we'll have in the early part of the month. Get that one out of the way. And fishing gather up an adventure sometime late May. So looking forward to that. Hopefully meet some cool people and do some fishing, get to chat fishing. Maybe we can show each other some tricks or two out on the boat about different techniques with jerk baits, crank baits, top water, whatever, jig fishing. Because there's always you can learn something. You're right. Doesn't matter how good you are. I liked. There was a trick that I learned watching. What's his name? Watching Randy, and I'll share it with you guys. I'm actually going to do a video on it and give him the credit. So credit where it's due. I just want to share his trick. So if you're not one of those, so if I've told you about his channel. So if you're not one of those people that went over and subscribed, I would recommend you do so. I'm never going to take someone else's fishing tips and pass them off as my own. So, but I want to share with you guys one that he talked about on his fishing channel, and it was really, really cool. But one of the best things it works on is a Cinco. You can do it with almost anything. Tube bait versus creature bait, and why? Well, the tube bait's going to be a little bit more finesse. The legs don't give as much quite momentum as a creature bait. Tube bait's, more of like a bait fish, while a creature bait is more of a crawdad slash creature, right? So a bug, a beetle, a crawdad, something depends what's in the water, but mostly a crawdad you're trying to mimic, right? And or crayfish technically, but to me, it's really about what you feel comfortable with and how you're rigging it. So you can rig some tubes up weedless, right? There's a way to work some tubes that are certain hollow body tubes. You can set them up with the hook inside. Going striper fishing tomorrow on the Dirty D. Any tips, bro? It's my first time fishing for stripers on a boat. Stripers on the Dirty D, throw three things: throw a white hair jig, throw jerk baits, and throw rattle traps, LV 500s or blade baits. Look for schools and then yo-yo blade baits and rattle traps and stuff. Or throw jerk baits, top water early morning and late afternoon when the sun is setting, when the sun is rising. If you catch them busting and jumping, top water is what you want to go with. Other than that, stay subsurface, and you want to move fast and erratic for stripers, not really slow usually. Although there are times I've seen guys whack them slow, but it's usually a fast bite. They're triggered by speed. They're hunters and they're going for big things. You want to catch a big fish, so they're looking for something moving quick, right? Not just meandering along. So they usually hit those kinds of stuff. But I'm not a professional striper fishing, but I do all right. So um, now, why would I fish a tube bait versus a creature bait? Well, it's all about comfort. Your creature of comfort. So, what do you like more of? So, in places like McClure, Don Pedro, New Maloney's, a tube can be deadly. Open hook with the hook out, like a darter head. It's almost like a flying lure. That thing kind of has a twirling dive to it that's kind of a unique action. And it's almost like a Ned rig. It pops straight up and then kind of falls straight down when you're working it. Um, has some action with the little rubbery, the bottom of the tube. And they make a couple different versions, but most of them aren't weedless, though, right? So depends what you're fishing. You can take a creature bait, Texas rig it, and then put the hook back into it like you would with a worm or any kind of bait. And you're able to then use that bait through vegetation, through wood, through cover, through all kinds of stuff, and be much less likely to get snagged. So, a creature bait, I'm going to use in vegetation, I'm going to use in wood, and I'm going to use it in heavy structure, big rocks. A tube I'm going to use in also some big rocks, but I'm going to use it in more dirt, clay, rocks, slate, stuff that is plainer that or even lots of cover, but that is not wood or vegetation where the open hook can snag easier. So the tube's more of a McClure, Pedro, New Maloney's, or just think about McClure bait is really good. While a creature bait is more of a, say, if you're fishing in the wood, New Maloney's, Delta, stuff like that. And also, if there's a crawdad spawn or the crawdad are out and you know you're catching bass that are having crawdad claws and whiskers come out of its throat and the lips are all red from pecking at the floor, from biting at the bottom, from eating crawdads. They like look like they're wearing lipstick, right? Then that's a big sign to probably throw the creature bait over the tube. If the fish are eating fish, the tube's probably a little bit more of a better imitation than a creature bait. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, nice. What part, huh? Where are you going, the Bassin? You're going to the Dirty D tomorrow. I was thinking about going fishing tomorrow too. I don't have anything going on tomorrow, but I kind of do though. So it's like something small. Or wood. Oh, cool. At the Delta right now, I would be throwing crankbaits, I would be throwing spinner baits, and I would be throwing frogs and top water like poppers. And if you find some really great looking spots where there's a wash, really cool looking cover, docks that you're almost 100% sure have to be holding big bass or you've seen a big bass, that's when you want to use a popper and you don't want to cover a ton of water. What you're doing with a popper is you're spot fishing, kind of like pitching a lure where you're just covering 10 feet of area, 50, not a ton of water. You're throwing it next to a big tree, a pipe. You're throwing it next on a point. You're throwing it next to a dock or a big clump of this or that. Uh, and you're waiting for an ambushing or hiding fish to come out and attack it. Poppers are great for spot fishing. Now, if you're covering water, that's where a frog, a whopper plopper. The delta though has a lot of vegetation, so if you want to swap out that whopper plopper, it works, and you can work it on the outside weed edges. You work it out in the open, catch stripers and stuff too. But you can work it everywhere, especially high tide. But when there's those places where the weeds are just under the surface, sometimes those treble hooks can grab it, right? So things like a frog or a buzzbait are killer at the delta, and a frog is a little bit better than a buzz because it can stay still while a buzzbait will sink if you kill it. Now, buzzbaits are better than frogs on days where the bass want something moving really fast. So if you can pop your frog and move it quick, great, but a buzzbait can fly across the water. So you almost have to reel your frog in to create the same effect, and you don't get as much water displacement and noise. So buzzbait has its places where it can be much better than a frog as well. It has more of a calling power. It's more louder. It can pull fish to it quicker and bigger than a frog sometimes. While a frog, you can cover water with it and you can spot fish, so you can stop it and pause it. But if I'm fishing next to structure that's not all full with like junk and like vegetation, I'm using a popper usually to spot fish or a frog. Uh, but you can also use a frog to cover water. But if you're covering water and it's not too vegetation, you can use whopper ploppers and walking baits. And the Delta right now has been killing it on stuff like either frogs, crankbaits, spinnerbaits, and or something like a Cinco or finesse fishing, because there's still fish on beds, and some of those just won't bite for shit barely. You have to make a few casts at them. You have to fish real slow. You have to be on their bed. You could be 6 inches, a foot away. Fish could be mugging your lure the whole time and not touch it. You may not even be aware all that's going down. You could be near a spawn flat, blind casting, fishing. Man, where are these fish at? There could be hundreds of them underneath you. You're just not fishing slow enough. So the delta can be tricky as well too. So those would be the ways you got to punch on. Yeah, if it gets really hot, real sunny, a punch bait through. I haven't been to the delta in almost a month, about 3 weeks to a month. So last time I was there, the vegetation wasn't real bad yet. No problem, Tony. Yeah, we're still cool for Tuesday, Marco. We're gonna go fishing Tuesday, buddy. I'm not gonna plan any work, even though it's gonna be like hella hot. I'm just gonna schedule stuff for Monday and Wednesday. So Tuesday is for sure off. I don't have anything scheduled, so we should be good. Unless the wife tries to jump me and say I have some kind of obligation I forgot about. But I'm pretty damn sure we're good. We're in the clear. I'll go make sure with her, but she's the only one that could pull a Trump or Joker card on me. And it's always my own damn fault, too. Where she's like, I told you 10 days ago. I said, babe, on the 23rd or 24th, I need you to take the kids to do this or that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, shit. And then I remember, too. That's the worst part, is I actually remember. Like, then my mind goes 2 weeks prior. And I'm like, and she's like, wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, burnout, Homer Simpson. What marina? I don't care wherever you want to roll, bro. We go to the Delta, we go to New Maloney's, we go wherever. If you go, they go to the Delta, we go wherever, dude. Let's go to Lads. Then what we can do is we launch from Lads. Let's go fish our ass off, have fun, and let's go to Ben Holt and get wasted for lunch. We'll get fish bowls and like steak and shit. Oh, party like animals, like how me and Virgil party, but we can't party too hard like that. I can't party even that hard anymore, but you know he's been doing great, so I don't want to throw him off his horse. And I've been doing good, but occasionally, see, I've always been able to control my eating or drinking habit to where it's just periodically, versus I don't get so bad where it's became a full on. I mean, I'm not super skinny either, but where it's became like ever a full on health issue yet. And maybe it has, but I don't like binge anymore, anyways, for a long time. I don't binge drink. I don't usually get super faded or drunk. I know where to draw the line, get a good buzz, but and then but sometimes when we go to the Delta, mind you, We go live like kings, dude. We go rack up a $200, $150 food bill, bro, at Garlic Brothers, drinking drinks and taking shots and just ordering bacon wrapped duck and the artichoke and whatever, and the bacon cheddar romaine heart or whatever, something fried romaine hearts, and there's all these other crazy stuff I get there. There's I like the gumbo there. um, yeah, I go off, dude. So, but we call it's like halftime for the football game, right? We go hardcore, and then we go hardcore, and then right around lunchtime, when fishing gets all brutal and hot, you're like, and the sun's just kicking your ass. You get off the water, you walk into the nice air conditioned building, order mark, you get water, down the water, you feel so much better. Then give me the fish bowl. And they bring in a cup like this that's is supposed to be, here's the trick. They will not sell it to one person because it's too much alcohol legally to sell to one person. So they sell it only if there's two people and you're supposed to share the drink, but they never care if you do. They just bring it to you with two straws. It's like a boyfriend girlfriend drink, and they bring it to you with two straws. So it's hella funny. I always tell the guy, order in the fish bowl. And so the guy will have to be like, okay, or whatever. And then he'll order his own drink, but the bartender will even say, like, that's for both you guys. That's a two-person drink. Okay. So, okay. And then I just sit there and drink it myself the whole time. They don't say shit. It's the actual 1 gallon fish bowl that you would put a goldfish in, filled with the margarita or whatever mixed drink of your choice. And it's got two Swedish or three or four Swedish fish in it on the top. Of course, it's filled with ice, but usually they only fill it like halfway. There's a lot of alcohol. You leave out there all like, not like drunk driving. You're not like hammered, but you feel buzzed. Like you're good. Like, hey, partner, you could drive the boat. Or let's just go sit in it, man. Fish out the side for a half hour. Let's catch our, or go hit the trolling motor. Just stay off the big motor. Let's go fish Ben Holt sober up. Then you go back to driving, having fun. Anyways, I'm not advocating for any breaking of any laws or rules or whatnot, but let's just say we have fun on the Delta. But we're not reckless though. There's too many fools out there smashing around, super drunk, reckless, driving into shit, over people, into people. That's not me, dude. Trust me. But we have a good time though. Let's just say that. Having the food, have a few drinks, catch a little buzz, but safe, and don't go driving the boat right away. Go fish or something right there by the restaurant, or at least just hit the trolling motor and stay in Ben Holt. Then we fish all the slips. Get a lot of fish doing that. Sucks though because the guy in the back don't catch a lot. Guy in the front gets all the angles first. Guy in the back's kind of like, oh shit. So Delta is better when you're out somewhere where you can mess with different angles. Dude in the back's kind of, when you fish in boat docks, oh man, it's not easy being in the back of the boat at the Delta. I try to kick my boat out though, so I give the guy in the back angles. But you have some bucktail jigs, right? How do you work those? Like a swim jig, kind of swim them in and use them like a jerk bait, pop, pop, and then let them kind of fall and then reel and then pop, pop. So you want to keep them in the middle water column. Say the fish are over 20 feet or 10 feet or whatever they happen to be in. Depending on the size you're using, you cast it out and it starts sinking right away. So they're heavy, so you're reeling them fast. So you're just constantly reeling and they're swimming in, and then you jerk them and they go, and then they start to die. You catch the line before it hits the bottom, and then it starts swimming back up, and then you right away jerk it, boom, boom, and then it does the same thing. Almost looks like lightning bolts underwater. It's real rapid jerks and actions to it. Cool. Yeah. Some guys do that, but most guys are pretty cool about no, you don't. You can use a little white grub, a single tail, but you don't want something that's going to slow it down too much. So a single tail, maybe a double tail, but I would throw a single tail grub, 4 inch or something, 3 inch. Depends on how big the buck hair jig is. But yeah, the bassin, that's cool that the guys in the club don't front end the guys in the back. Because some guys do. Even me, sometimes I get caught doing it, not even intending to, when I just get on a hot bite. Yeah, you could put like a little swim bait style trailer on it too. A little Kitech, a pearl white or just all white Kitech, or a single tail big old curly tail grub, one or the other. That's what I would put on it. But yeah, I do it though. So I'm going to admit to that. I do it, and I try when I catch myself doing it, or when I've caught a few fish, to always keep the other guy in the back in mind and try to ask him what would he like, what angles he prefers, can I give him a spot, or and I try to keep the boat in position. But what'll happen is initially, say the fishing's not that great, or even if it's been doing good, and just a period goes by, and I start catching fish or big fish, and I figure a pattern out, like they're here, then I just get honed in on that. I position the boat where I need to be, and I just start going to town catching fish. Next thing you know, I'm like, I have to check myself, make sure the dude in the back is catching fish, make sure he's got similar angles, that he can do the same technique, and that we can both catch fish. But I can catch myself catching 4 or 5 fish before the dude in the back's even got one, realizing that most of it's because I've got a key angle that he doesn't have. And I'm like, shit, I got to fix that. And I'll have to, like, adjust the boat. It's a trick. I keep them in mind. I'm not a jerk about it. It's just sometimes I forget, where it's like, it's getting cold in here. Turn that AC off. But yeah, sometimes I forget. So do a shout out for Noah when I get back to his room. Hey, Daniel, what's up, brother? I'll do a shout out for Noah. Tell me when you're back in his room. My nephew damn near died just now. He had some kind of virus. He had the monkey virus, monkeypox, where the vaccine done got him, and almost done did him in with some kind of sickness. Poor kid was peeing blood and all that. And he's a tough little booger, and he's got a good mom and dad, and they got him out to Children's Hospital, and then out to, I think, Stanford or something. So thank God, he's doing good, and he's improving, he's recovering. That's my nephew. I love him. That's my brother Daniel right there. That's my actual brother. So glad my nephew's doing okay. So my little nephew's in the hospital. So let's all tell him hi when my brother says he's there. If you guys get a chance, tell Noah hi, and that you hope that he gets better. You can make a little, like, 4-year-old make his day, make him feel real good. 4 or 5 years old. I get burnt out. Probably don't even know that. I'd have to think about exactly what his age is. My bad, Daniel. You should be a better uncle there. I forget, man. I think it was like 4 or 5. 4. Yeah, see, I was right. Damn it. I just second guessed myself. I was like, is he 5? Is he 6? Is he 3? What the fuck? No. I'm like, I think he's 4, dude. But man, all right. I forget my own kid's age sometimes. Shit, leave me alone. I have to straight up go back to their year that they were born and count the years and be like, they were born in Duke. That makes, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, duh. It's huge. That is why, of course, right? He's a big dude. Johnny's gotten tall. He's almost as tall as me. He's only 13. Kid's like 5'8", 5'9", or no, almost 5'10", I think, at like 13. He's getting there. So, how about rod, line, and reel setup for the bucktail? Oh, probably 15, 20, and heavier duty rod, medium, heavy, spinning probably, or and a big spooled reel, and maybe 20 minimum on that. It just depends, especially 3/4, 20 or so, probably do you good. Um, Mono or fluoro, I don't care. Just I would probably use something like fluoro for sensitivity, but I don't know. Mono might give you a little bit of flex and stretch. I'm not a striper guide, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Noah, yeah, he got his first guy saying hi. So I'm at his room. He has the phone. Hey, Noah, hope you get better, buddy. I love you. Uncle Sam loves you. I know that you're in the hospital right now, huh? Well, Mr. Common Sense Fishing, Uncle Sam, he loves you, buddy. And I know you're a fighter. You're going to get well, buddy. You get well, you feel better, and you can come home and give me a big old hug, right, Noah? You're going to come give Uncle Sam a big hug, right? And look at Noah, if you read the comments, everybody in the comments telling you hi. They're saying, hey, Noah, get well soon. See, you're famous right now. It's like you're on TV. So isn't that cool, Noah? You've got all these people saying, hey, get better. Yeah, we love you, buddy. I hope you feel good. Listen to daddy and mommy, whatever the doctors say, and make sure you take your medication that they give you. And I hope you feel really good. I heard they've been giving you lots of apple juice, huh, buddy? Yeah, apple juice is awesome. So I know you've been drinking your apple juice. So hopefully you're eating some food in your tummy. You're feeling better. I love you. You can tell Uncle, tell your dad to type in for you. I love you. I know, or Daniel's right there. Maybe you could type it in. Noah, can you type it in? Can you tell me hi? You can put a comment in and say hi. So, oh, look at Racho Bunch is here. Hey, Racho. Poor Noah. Yeah, I hope he gets well soon, man. We were kind of worried. He was peeing blood, and we were worried we were going to lose him. He was in Fresno Children's Hospital, and he actually had to get airlifted to Stanford. Hi, Noah. We love you, buddy. I hope you feel better, okay? And we're going to go catch some big fishies. Whenever you get out of your little medical position you're in, buddy, and you get the green light, me, you, and daddy will go on the boat, right? We'll go on a nice boat ride, and we're going to go catch some fish. He said he needs to link. What is linked? He wants to leave? He said he needs to learn to swim to fish. Learn to swim to fish. Noah, I'll teach you how to fish, buddy. You want to learn to fish? You got to come out on the boat with Uncle Sam and Daddy. We'll take you out. We'll go on a boat ride. We'll get you some big old fishies. You're old enough now. You can hold the fishing pole. You can reel it in. You can catch yourself a big old fish. You ready? All right. As soon as you get out, Uncle Sam will take you fishing, I promise. So me and Dad will go on a trip. We'll head out to the lake. We'll catch you your first bass. And we'll even record it. We'll put it on video. We'll let everyone see this is Noah's first bass. So love you, buddy. Anyways, thanks everybody for joining tonight. Really appreciate you guys. It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna hit the haystack, go to bed, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Again, I want to explain really quick why I've missed this week. My wife does have COVID, so I've been hiding. I haven't been in the same room as her, but I've been Mr. Dad. I've been taking the kids to school, picking them up from school, cooking dinner, prepping this, doing that, and I run a heating and air conditioning business. So I'm running around doing calls, running here, running there, doing this, doing that. So thank God I finally had some time today. So as soon as she's feeling better, she's such an awesome wife. She does a lot around here. She takes care of so much, does so much. So right now, I'm stepping up to the plate, making sure I'm taking care of things. That way she can just stay in the room, get better, doesn't get anyone else sick. And it's fine. She's fine. It's just like a simple little cold like before. It's actually even weaker. The headache wasn't even there, the just a little light cough and a little sniffle, and sure as shit she's got it. She's tested multiple times, went and got an official test, she's got it. but we beat it before. So the symptom for her like literally lasted like a half a day to a day, but she's got it. So I don't want to give it to somebody. I don't want to get it and then give it to a customer and put anyone at risk who's older, not healthy, stuff like that. So yes. Oh, he needs to learn how to swim before he can fish. Well, duh, we have a swimming pool. He can come over and come swimming too. So you come on over to Uncle Sam's house. We go swimming. We teach you how to swim. But yeah, you have yourself a life jacket so you can flop in the water. You'll be fine. Dakota and Charlie, they've all taken a dunk, but they're dogs. They know how to swim. But it was funny. They both fell out the boat. So, anyways, you guys been awesome. Thank you guys very much. That's why I've been gone. I haven't been able to jump on. I've been so damn busy, and it might continue for another 5 days. So, hey, Daniel, come follow me on Twitter, bunghole. I just started my channel. I'm all tweeting at everybody and everything, and I have like 0 followers. Nobody listens to me. Nobody cares. They're like, "What are you, a bot?" So if you guys want, come follow me on Twitter, Common Sense Fishing. Right, let's give you guys my Twitter handle real quick. So if anybody's interested in hearing my incoherent fishing ramblings or even political crap sometimes, here you go. I gotta pull it up. I forgot what it is. It's at Sam Matthews 209. So real easy. So my name 209, Sam Matthews 209. So if anyone wants to follow me on there, you guys can. I'm Sambo 209 on Instagram, Samuel Matthews on Facebook, and obviously Common Sense Fishing here on YouTube. So thanks very much. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We got some giveaways coming soon. We got a new member tonight, so thank you. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Lots and lots of Clear Lake videos and cool tips coming up. We did 3 days, probably made about 6 videos out of it because there was so much cool, fun content. So, hope you guys enjoy all the cool stuff we're going to have coming. I plan on doing some night fishing, and I'm also going to do some fishing when we get this little break in the weather coming up ahead. So, thanks. We'll catch you guys soon. And as always, we're going to see you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you missed me, please believe I wanted to be here. Sometimes in the summertime, though, work's going to kick my ass. So you guys might see me a little sporadically or odd days like on Tuesdays or Thursdays or even the weekends. So I appreciate you guys understanding and sticking through and always being supportive and part of the channel. So thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the next one.